Mr. B's Art Room.
A two-point perspective drawing is a drawing done in perspective that uses a horizon line, which is your eye level, and two vanishing points. In a two-point perspective drawing, instead of boxes going to one vanishing point, boxes' angles will go to both vanishing points. To create this, you need a ruler, a pencil, and an eraser. The first step is to set up your paper horizontally and create a horizon line going across the middle of the paper. The horizon line is your eye level. Anything below the horizon line is the ground or the foreground. Anything above the horizon line is the sky. Along this point, or along this horizon line, you will create one vanishing point on the right. We're going to call this vanishing point 2. And we're going to place a point off to the left and call this vanishing point 1. After you have established the two vanishing points on the horizon line, you will take your ruler and create a vertical line below the horizon line, down here in the bottom, which is the foreground. Then take your ruler and connect the top of that line segment to the right vanishing point, which is vanishing point 2. You're going to connect these line segments using a very light line, because you will do a lot of erasing during this process. After you have connected that line segment to the right vanishing point, or vanishing point 2, you'll connect that same line segment to the left vanishing point. If you get confused, you can, after you've made the line segment, you can put a dot on the end and then connect the dots so that you're not confused. Once you've decided how long this wall is going to be, I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with that corner of the wall, and I'm going to slide it to the left, making sure that my ruler stays vertical or straight up and down. Once I've created the distance that wall needs to travel, I'll create another vertical line which is parallel to the corner of the box. See how those two lines are parallel. I'm going to do the same thing on the right hand side, only this time I'm going to make the wall a lot longer. So I'm going to slide it over to the right and add another vertical line. This line is also parallel to this corner line. See how all three of these lines are parallel? Once I have established the length of the walls, I'm going to take my eraser and erase anything outside of those vertical lines that I've created. This is only so that you don't get confused when you start doing the next steps. I would suggest using an eraser other than your pencil eraser, because you will be doing a lot of erasing and eventually have no eraser on the end of your pencil. Now I should have two freestanding walls. This is where everyone gets tripped up. I have one corner here I'm going to add a dot to, and one corner here I'm going to add a dot to. If the dot is on the left hand side, I am going to connect it with the right vanishing point. or vanishing point 2. So I'm only going to have that point go to the right. Secondly, I have this other corner, which is on the right, is now going to go to the left, to vanishing point 1. Where these two lines intersect defines the back end of the box. So I don't need to extend the line all the way to the vanishing point. Where they cross each other, I'm going to erase anything outside of that point where they converge. Because I placed that first line segment below the horizon line, what I see below my eye level are two walls and the top of a box. If I draw a line segment above the horizon line, what I'll see are two walls and the bottom of the box. I'm going to follow the same steps that I would for the line segment on the bottom. Both ends of the line segment go to both vanishing points. Define how long the wall you want it to be, and use a vertical line to close it off. Line up your ruler with the very corner of the box, slide to the left, then slide to the right. Common mistakes here are with your vertical line, people turn their ruler so that the line is angled. Okay? Do not want to angle your line. You want to make sure that the line is vertical, going straight up and down. So if it's not as straight as the edge of your paper, see how this is straight here and the edge of your paper is straight, you want those two to match. If your line is angled, it's incorrect. Erase the extra outside of those vertical lines. And then prepare to do the bottom of the box. To review, you always line up the opposite corner with the opposite vanishing point. Therefore, the left corner goes to the right vanishing point, and the right corner goes to the left vanishing point. Where those two things cross or converge, I erase the lines outside of that section. Now I have a three-dimensional box floating above the horizon line. Two boxes created, I need to think about atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective is a perspective that's created by adjusting the size of objects and details to create that deep sense of space. Anything that is close to me needs to be drawn larger. Things that are further away need to be drawn smaller. If I want to create that deep space in my drawing, the next time I draw a box and I want it to be smaller than this box, I'm going to use a vertical line that is much smaller than the first one. The closer I get to the horizon line, the more extreme the angle will be of the top of the box. So even if it looks strange to you, as long as it is going to both vanishing points, it should be drawn correctly. If you practice this enough, eventually it will become second nature, and you'll just be able to do it over and over again with no problem. So just like anything, it will take some practice to understand how this works together. Once I've created these boxes, I have the two freestanding walls. Again, I am going to connect it to the opposite vanishing point. Left corner goes to, or right corner goes to the left vanishing point. Right corner goes to, or left corner goes to the right vanishing point, excuse me. Where those two things cross, or where they converge, defines the back end of the box. You can see that the angle of this box is very slight, but as long as it is following those rules, that is drawn correctly. Now, I want you to draw at least 3 two-dimensional boxes in your composition. We're going to add to this drawing by including cylinders, cones, and spheres somewhere in the drawing. When I draw a cylinder, I'm just going to use 2 vertical lines going straight up and down. And if the cylinder is below the horizon line, I am going to curve the bottom of the line instead of making it go straight across. That's going to make it appear as if that cylinder is going into the box. If a cylinder goes above my eyesight or eye level, I'm also going to curve the top of that cylinder. And erasing anything inside the cylinder is going to make it solid and not see-through. So where it overlaps with something else, you need to decide what is more important, what is going to appear as if it is in the front. So that's how I create a cylinder. A cone is drawn similar to this in that when you're drawing a cone, if I'm drawing a cone above my eye level, I would see the bottom of the cone, and the higher the cone gets, the more elliptical or oval the bottom would look because I'm seeing underneath it. I do not want to make it round because that is not following the rules of perspective unless it was directly in front of me. So I would curve the bottom of a cone and then connect the ends of the oval together to create the cone. A sphere is just drawn as a circle. The only way to make the sphere look like it's three-dimensional or belong in this drawing is to actually shade it. Don't worry so much about the shading right now because I'll show you another tutorial, but just draw at least 3 boxes drawn in the two-dimensional perspective or the 2-point perspective, and then draw in 3 cones, 3 spheres, and 3 cylinders. Remember that including large objects that go off the page are going to draw more interest to that object. Repeating other objects and varying the size can create that sense of depth. Here I have a large circle, a medium circle, and a small circle, creating that kind of depth.